Welcome to a podcast about something where each week we dive deep into whatever it is we find interesting. I'm your host, Calvin, and joining me from Stamford, Connecticut, it is Nick Richardson. What's up?
It's me. I'm in Stamford, Connecticut.
Obviously.
We got bad news coming down the tubes, my man.
Yeah, Dunder Mifflin branch is going to be shut down, and we are going to talk about the merging of Scranton and Stamford and how that all works out.
Arguably one of the second, I'll rank it in the top 5 series of events that's happened on The Office.
Yeah, top 5, because you got the whole Jim Pam relationship. You got Michael and Holly. There's a lot of other stuff. It's definitely top 5.
Yeah.
Ryan getting the job at corporate, Michael Scott Paper Company. Like, there's a lot going on there. But
Ryan's goatee.
Yeah, it's true. Ryan being replaced by Ryan replaced the old lady. Pam being replaced by the old lady at reception, and then Ryan replacing her. There's a lot going on in season 5. It was a weird time. But we were talking about season 3. Mostly just the branches merging. Kind of most of season 3 deals with this idea that one of the branches is going to shut down and the other one is going to absorb it and the fallout from that. But we're talking pretty much episodes 7, 8, and 9, which are the episodes that the branches actually merge in. So episode 7 is branch closing, episode 8, the merger, and episode 9, the convict. The convict. And then there's a little in Benihana Christmas, but the merger has been done by then.
Yeah, pretty much. It's all, they're all coming together and everything's pretty much, the big moves have been made.
Yes, that's true. We know who's going where and why and when. So let's start out with branch closing. We're not going to do a recap of every episode, but we're going to have to talk through the episodes as we go through. So branch closing, everyone's getting word that the Scranton branch will close and the Stamford branch will remain open and absorb Scranton and be Dunder Mifflin Northeast or whatever they call it. We do get one of Jim's best pranks ever in cold open for this with the faxes from future Dwight.
I loved that shit. I made sure to put a note that says, love the opening for branch closing. Jim sending Dwight the faxes is
has nothing to do with the actual merger, but it happened, so we got to talk about it.
Oh, of course.
So, yeah, again, Stamford is going to stay open, absorb Scranton branch, and their customers. Jan, she goes to meet with Michael in the beginning. She says she doesn't relish shutting down the Scranton branch, but, clearly she does.
I think, she enjoys it.
And getting rid of Michael. And, yeah.
It's made all the more clear when he says, I know I hurt you, but please don't
hurt
do this
me
to me.
like I hurt you. Yeah.
And
don't hurt me.
That was a super eye roll moment, but I feel like for Jan, that was definitely big time hurt. Like, it, wasn't good for her.
No.
And so she enjoyed this bit of power over Michael Scott. The man could not be wrangled.
And for the Scranton branch, we've got 2 groups of people. There, one group that gets offered a transfer, and the other gets offered severance. Michael wants to know if he's a severance guy or a small group, and she tells him he's a severance guy. But is this really fair that Michael's a severance guy?
I would go into it thinking yes, but as soon as he started, oh my god, doing all that, that's when it hits the no point for me.
Right.
Because it's so much obviously more than a job for him. It's his life. And
yeah, absolutely. Dunder Mifflin is by far his life. And I don't think it's really fair from a purely business perspective. Because obviously Josh Porter is going to remain the manager in Stamford, but Michael could transfer as a salesman because that was one of his qualities always was he's a great salesman. So why wouldn't you offer him to move and continue being a salesman and kind of help the clients who are moving with them, ease that tension? That would be my thought as a business person. But Jan wants him gone, clearly.
Yeah, I mean, that's a brilliant point. And I think that would be great if it was anyone else. Say you take Jim or Dwight or Andy, and they could do that, but not Michael Scott. He does not do well under others, especially, we'll see later in the seasons, he goes back to being a salesman, and that just doesn't really work out for him.
I'm not saying he would have worked there for a long time under Josh, but I think he should have been offered to move.
Oh, yeah, I'll agree with that. I will agree with that. But, severance is pretty nice.
That's true.
I feel like everybody else reacted pretty positively to the news when Michael broke it. So maybe they just assumed. Who knows? They could have. I don't know. Who knows? It depends on where you're at.
Who, if you're put in this situation, you've got to pick people to transfer to Stanford. Who are you picking? There's no Stanley tree. These guys, they're not everywhere.
I want to see that field filled with Stanleys and Phyllises and
Kevin Malone Field. So who would you have picked to go to Stanford if you're Jan? As we know, spoilers, we know how this plays out. If you're listening to this, you've seen The Office, you know what happens.
Obviously. Well, I would send... Damn, there's like 0 people I would jump up and down to send. I'd send Dwight.
Dwight.
Oscar. Probably Angela.
Not Pam.
Pam.
You don't need a transfer receptionist. I don't know that you send Oscar and Angela. You have to pick one, I would think. Just because you don't need to move to accountants.
Well, they can just have a cage match.
Well, yeah.
And that'll decide. But you gotta have the accounting department transfer. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Someone
they've got to keep
sales.
all that in line.
So that's Dwight. And fuck Toby. You only need one HR rep.
I would think Stanley maybe too. If you're just going seniority in the sales staff, you'd look to him. He's always had a great sales record. As Stanley says, he would have chosen the severance and retired early, but I think from Jan's perspective, Stanley would be a good guy to grab.
I'd grab him. He knows a lot of clients. They obviously like him.
Karen in later seasons tries to poach him away from Scranton, so obviously people want Stanley.
He's just
because there is no Stanley tree.
Well, he's the most lovable guy ever. You take those crosswords and shove it up your butt.
So then we flash over to Stanford, and Andy, Karen and Jim are talking about it, and Andy tells Jim in your face, like Jim had anything to do with it. Like, that was always funny to me. It was like, what Andy's stupid.
Andy is so stupid these past couple, or when you first get to know him.
Mm. But he's also great because, he steals Josh's computer when he's leaving. He has, a mini freak out in the kitchen. There's these moments of Andy early on where you see the bigger picture of Andy, but at the same time, he's kind of stupid and annoying.
Can be.
So we go back to Scranton. Michael's just got the worst poker face walking around. Everybody gets the idea of what's going on. He tells everyone literally almost immediately.
Yeah, no, 0 prompting for the most part.
Ryan was mad because he just got all his business cards, which, who gives a shit? Yeah, I think Ryan probably would have transferred too. He would have wanted to be closer to New York, and obviously, they're pegging Ryan, since he's in business school, to do greater things with the company later down the road.
Probably a good call. So you're looking at this from a purely business perspective.
Yeah,
I'm looking at this from the Office perspective. Skewed.
Who would be enjoyable in the Office under Josh Porter? Nobody would be, because that office would be boring, and they would play Call of Duty, and that's it. That's the only fun thing they would do there.
Modern day streaming, brother. Right there.
I guess they would take shots if they have to do late night sales calls too.
Shots.
We get the Great Stamford, Connecticut chant, which anytime anyone mentions Stamford, that's the only thing that pops into my head.
Yeah, See, I honestly, that's their anthem in my mind, and I did not know that it actually existed. I always thought these were fictional towns for the longest time.
No, they're real towns.
Seriously, and then I had a hard time saying Stamford and not Stanford.
Instead of Stanford, yeah. And so, I didn't realize Stamford was a real place either, and then, since season 3 of The Office, I've been hearing about it all over the place, and I'd never heard of it in my 25 years prior to watching this episode.
Yeah, I know there was another show, that I heard him say Stamford, Connecticut. I just don't...
I think it was mentioned in The Good Place at one point.
That's quite possible.
It's from the same creators, so maybe they have a tie there somehow. So Bob Vance Refrigeration buys up the warehouse. Good for him.
Bob Vance, I saw a meme today, and it was Darth Maul with Bob Vance's face on, and he does Bob Vance, and then shoots one of his little parts of the lightsaber, Vance Refrigeration, and he puts both sides out. I had to throw that out there. If you find that meme and send it to me, I'll love you forever. Alone Podcast on Twitter.
Yes, hit us with that. So later in the episode, the sale falls through, obviously. How pissed do you think Bob Vance was when he doesn't get to acquire that warehouse?
Honestly,
That's a lot of refrigerator space in there.
hell yeah, man, he could expand big time, and that I'm sure that would make his.
And I'm sure they were giving it to him cheap too.
Oh yeah, and at the same time, having the product in the warehouse would save you so much overhead, or on
shipping
site.
Costs. Yeah,
Exactly. I mean, the trucking costs.
It would increase overhead, but it would. Yeah, it would. You wouldn't have to ship it in different places, and not to mention. You have a full crew already hired. Like, you don't have to go through the pain of hiring a warehouse crew.
Yeah, most definitely. Experience, too.
I would have been real pissed.
I gotta say, if he has to keep all his stuff at, like, a warehouse off-site, though, imagine the cost of having that building on top of that. That'd be ridiculous.
Right, exactly. He's paying
savings.
2 leases instead of 1. And I'm sure, like, I don't remember the guy's name off the top of my head. The guy in the wheelchair who owns the building. I bet he would give him a deal if he's got both, if he's got the warehouse and his actual office space rented there.
Oh, most definitely.
So we get Michael and Dwight going to David Wallace's house. I said here, I feel like if David ever got home and was actually confronted by Michael and Dwight, he would have just shut the branch down anyways. Even after everything played out here, he'd be like, no, I don't like that guy, shut the whole thing down.
Yeah, I'm sick of
We'll find a new manager. Jim can be manager in Stanford. We don't need to do this shit. These guys showed up in my house. That's fucking weird.
In real life, yes. But this is the creator of Suck It. So, I mean, this dude's a little out there.
Suck it!
I love that. It was creepy as shit when Dwight, like, looks in the backseat, Christmas card list. It's like, I wonder how many people have my name and, like, address and phone number in their phone. Like, yeah, just random information.
Yeah.
Maybe
I have a lot of people from, like, college and high school still on my phone, and I'm like, well, you never know when you might need to call this random-ass person that I haven't spoken to in 15 years.
Right? John, sorry for calling, man, but I need a hand.
I know you're around because I see you on Facebook posting that you live in this area, so yeah, help me out.
Guess what? I'm here. Sorry about you.
Yeah. So, Michael and Dwight, they stay there for the rest of the time. They role play a little bit. Dwight just shuts Michael down in the role playing. Like, Michael can't handle real, actual arguments. He's like, no, he's going to be intimidated. Don't do that shit.
Yeah. No. Act intimidated.
And then at the end of their arc, Dwight and Michael, they still take credit for whatever transpired throughout the rest of the episode. They're like, yeah, we did it. Obviously.
We did it!
Obviously, us standing here waiting on his doorstep is what did it. So
without him knowing we were here.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact.
I mean, Pam does ask Jan, did Michael actually do something? And Jan's like, what the hell are you talking about? How could Michael do anything? We get a scene somewhere in there, Ryan and Kelly breaking up, which I don't really understand, other than Kelly's dumb. Like, they're still both going to live in Scranton. They've both always lived in Scranton. Why would they have to break up just because they're going to work at different places?
No,
I know it's Ryan's way of getting out. Like, I get that Ryan's, like, trying to get out of the relationship and he's using this dumb excuse. But Kelly shouldn't be that dumb to not realize that.
Wasn't he supposed to move to Stanford, though?
In his little talking head, he's like, Kelly's going to go somewhere else. I'm probably going to go somewhere else. And, like, the way it sounded was like they weren't going to Stanford. They were just going to have to find different jobs.
They just weren't going to work together. But still in
Scranton. Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I took it. But maybe, again, I would take Ryan and Stanford if it were me making these decisions. But
the kid.
Wonderkin.
I don't know. I guess Kelly is kind of a little thick.
Yeah. Kelly's dumb. That's all there is to it, really. Sorry, Kelly. So then Josh Porter screws over Dunder Mifflin by leveraging his new title into a better job with Staples.
Yes, that was so awesome.
Is he the asshole in this situation?
Fuck yeah.
Really?
Well,
Why?
I mean, okay.
He took a better job for himself.
I would do the same exact thing, but that doesn't mean you're not an asshole.
I can see that.
It does not mean you're not an asshole. I mean,
he's an asshole, but he did the right thing for himself.
Exactly.
All that matters.
Like, and I think 5 years down the road, if I was those people, I'd look at it like he did the right thing for himself. It's 5 years down the road, but
nobody even mentions him ever again. So they didn't miss him really that much.
But at the time, that's a huge upheaval. I mean, you are affecting a lot of people's lives, but dude, this is the real world. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, no, I get that. That makes sense. But I'm with you. I think we've talked about this before. Like, you do not owe any loyalty to the company you work for because they will throw you under the bus as soon as they get a chance. So, in Josh's case, like, he did the right thing for him.
Absolutely.
He's an asshole, but he did the right thing.
Yes, sir.
So Scranton is now going to be absorbing Stanford. Some people will be coming over from Stanford, which we'll talk about who all came over. But the big question is Jim coming back? Obviously, because it's a TV show, Jim's coming back. But at the time, nobody knows. If you were Jim, would you go back?
I don't see why not. I don't know, man. I might just pack up ship and go to New York.
Yeah, I mean, you take the severance, you figure out what you're going to do next. You left Scranton for a reason. Throwing yourself right back into that situation is not going to be good for anyone.
No, especially with a new girlfriend around your old flame.
Well, they weren't dating yet.
Well,
they started dating like right after this episode, he and Karen did.
So there was some fireworks going off. We'll leave it at that.
Right. So yeah, if I were him, I would have just taken the severance, told Karen to take the severance, chill out for a little bit, and then figure out your next steps together, and leave old flames in the past. But obviously, in the world of the show, he has to come back.
Well, definitely. He's like, I love Jim in The Office. He's great.
Yeah, it would have been a real bad show if he was just like, nope, I'm done. See ya.
Yeah, it just wouldn't have worked as.
Andy's replacing me.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't have been fun. That wouldn't have been fun. And I mean, he's the only thing that keeps the show later in its life alive.
Mm.
Otherwise, once Michael leaves, it loses a lot of its heart.
Yeah, that's true. So Jan arrives back in Scranton. She's driven like 400 miles. Again, like, just call somebody on the phone.
She's exhausted.
I get it. Just pick up the phone for that last trip and be like, Michael, here's what's going on. I'm not driving back again. Fuck you.
No shit. You have a cell phone. That's what they're for.
This doesn't really have anything to do with anything, but I've always wondered, and now's as good a time to bring it up as any. With Andy, how does a trust fund baby Cornell grad get a job at a middling paper sales company in Stamford, Connecticut? Like, that doesn't seem like the type of job that type of person would take.
I don't know. You're kind of sitting at a desk all day.
Through all his alumni connections and everything like that, I feel like he could do something better.
Doubtful. I bet that dude.
I don't think Andy could do something better because he's a moron. But
and you hear about all the shit he's done later in life, like Boner Champ.
He was the Boner Champ.
If some dude that referred to himself as Boner Champ was like, "Hey, bro, can I use you as a reference for this super high profile job, man? Like, trying to set my life up," I would tell him no.
I mean, Broccoli Rob would have given him a good reference, though.
If some dude named Broccoli Rob did that, I'd be like, no, bro. Lose my fucking phone number.
Do you remember who played Broccoli Rob?
I know his face. It's the dude, the douche. Crazy Ira from Parks and Rec.
No.
Are you sure?
Stephen Colbert.
Was that
Stephen Colbert? Yeah, I think that was the only appearance of Broccoli Rob. Unless there was a different... I know what you're talking about, Crazy Ira and the douche. The douche is Nick Kroll.
I know Crazy Ira.
Crazy Ira is the other guy. It was Stephen Colbert. It was like in season 8 or 9 when Andy was manager, and he did he dressed up as George Michael and was singing Faith, and it was Stephen Colbert came on behind him. Yeah.
Well, for some reason, I'm associating...
I think Crazy Ira is somewhere in The Office, though.
I think it's his voice.
Maybe.
I think it's his voice. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll look that up. Get us on Twitter if you know where Crazy Ira from Parks and Rec shows up in The Office, or if he does. Thanks. At APA somethings. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, moving back to this, we're kind of getting into the end. Everybody's going to Poor Richards together. They finally decided on a place to go together. Phyllis tells, and this is this statement gave me the idea to do this whole episode because the Office podcast, a podcast about The Office at Pod The Office on Twitter, was doing an episode on branch merger. They're doing a watch through they do every episode, and they just hit branch merger, and they asked this question of how does Phyllis know that Jim is coming back because she tells Pam. And that set me off into this whole spiraling thought process that I was like, okay, we got to do a full episode on it. And here we are. So thank you, The Office podcast. Check them out if you like The Office. They're really great.
Yes, and thanks for listening.
Yeah. How does Phyllis know that Jim is coming back?
Okay, I saw you talking about this on Twitter, and it's been in my fucking head ever since.
Okay. I have 3 possibilities.
I have no idea. I often take things too seriously, so I'm just like, no, that doesn't make sense. So this thing has presented me with a problem, and I just can't wade through it to find a solid
my first
answer.
possibility is Bob Vance Refrigeration, gets pissed that he doesn't get to acquire the warehouse anymore. He's venting to Phyllis, who he's dating at the time, and like for whatever reason, Bob Vance Refrigeration knows that Jim and people are coming back, or coming, and that he knows all the details of the merger because he's been discussing it about the warehouse. So that's my first thought, which I don't really like that one.
Hold on, let me say something about Mr. Bob Vance with Vance
Refrigeration. Yeah.
Fuck, that's a tongue twister in its own right.
Got a lot to learn about this town, sweetie.
I don't think Bob Vance for Refrigeration cares at all about Jim.
No.
And I'm sure he probably didn't have any knowledge about what was going on exactly. It was probably just
I would agree with
I don't get the warehouse.
Yeah, I think he'd be pissed that he doesn't get the warehouse, but I don't think he'd go looking for more details.
Yeah,
so my next thought, and this was my original thought, is that I thought Jan and Michael, but Michael's obviously not there, so it couldn't be him. Jan and or Toby meet with the sales team to kind of go over what's going to happen with the clients, the new clients coming over from Stanford, what's going on with Jim's clients because he's coming back. Does he get his old clients back? Does he just bring his new ones? What happens there? So maybe they met with the sales team, but not everybody else. So Phyllis heard, but no one else did. And Phyllis is the only gossipy one on the sale. Like, Stanley's not going to go gossip. Dwight's not going to go gossip. Ryan doesn't give a shit.
They were really up in arms when they tried to give Pam and Ryan their clients. And I'm sure once they absorbed Jim's clients, which I'm guessing is a pretty hefty list, they probably wouldn't give that up willingly.
Well, we'll talk about that more later on what actually happened with Jim's clients. And then my third, and this is actually what I think I've landed on, my third possibility, because as I watched the episode again yesterday, Phyllis kind of leans into Pam, because Pam goes, "Oh, really? You think he's coming back?" And Phyllis kind of leans in, and she starts whispering, like, she's like, "Well, I heard," and then she gets cut off by Michael or Kevin or somebody to go to Poor Richards, and she's just like, "Okay, I'll tell you later." So to me, it sounds like Phyllis overheard Jan in the bathroom, or just somewhere else. Like, maybe Jan was on the phone with Jim as Jim's confirming that he's coming back, or with David Wallace after David Wallace says something. So that's where I'm landing, is Phyllis overheard Jan somehow.
I got
and
it.
That's how she knows. What do you
got it. So hear me out.
I got you.
I have to rewatch it to see if it lines up, but Jan stepped out while everything was in the air. No, that was in Stanford. So
I think she did when she got back too, though. Because I think she did, because she was trying. So
it would
she
make
comes
sense
in. She says she's driven 400 miles, whatever, and she tells them that their branch isn't closing. Blah blah blah. And then she's kind of walking out, and she tells Pam, try and get a hold of Michael instead of her just calling Michael again. She tells Pam to get a hold of him, and she walks out the door. So maybe she's going outside to take a phone call from Jim, and Phyllis is going outside to go meet with Bob Vance Refrigeration or something. Who knows?
Ooh, that makes sense. I mean, there's also, if she felt it necessary to drive 400 miles to tell everybody this in person, that she went to tell Bob Vance in person that the deal was off. It wasn't happening, and Phyllis was on break or something over with Bob, and he got all super mad.
That's Bob Vance Refrigeration for you.
Yes, I'm sorry. Bob Vance Refrigeration.
Kind of line. What line of work you in, Bob?
Yeah. Just a harsh look. He should have said something like salt mining.
That's where I'm landing, is Phyllis overheard Jan somewhere talking to Jim.
I could see Phyllis hearing that the deal was off and just assuming Jim was coming back.
Yeah, could be. But she kind of leaned in like she actually heard something somewhere. So I don't know.
That's a good point.
If you guys have thoughts, let us know at APA something. The guys from the Office podcast, they couldn't figure it out either. So that's what I gave them my idea of. Jan met with the sales team. So if you've got them, tag them as well at Pod the Office because they'd like to hear anyone else's theories too, I'm sure. But also go listen to their episode.
I will be doing so.
So then we get a final scene. Jim is kind of talking Karen into. We have real confirmation that Jim's coming back. He's talking to Karen saying she should go too because she'd do really well. In this situation, do you think Jim is using. Like, they're not dating yet because Karen does a talking head right after where she's like, I don't know if he's into me, but I'm into him. So, like, they haven't gone on any dates, obviously. So do you think Jim's bringing Karen along because he knows there's something there, specifically as a buffer to Pam, so he doesn't, like, have to deal with any fallout with Pam? Because I think he is. Because Jim's kind of a dick. And, like, Jim would do something like that to benefit himself.
Yeah, especially because I don't think he really gives a damn about the Stanford people. Like, he always seems like...
I think he generally likes Karen. But
yeah, I mean, it's hard not to like Karen. I mean, look at her.
Or Pam from the back.
Phew, dude. I was, ironically on Reddit today, and they had, I scrolled past a little gif of Jenna Fisher getting photographed in getting shots done in a pond or something, in a bikini.
Strange place.
Yeah. I mean, it was a nice pond, but holy
great pond.
Shit. Yeah, I wanted to see that pond.
But it reminds me of Blades of Glory as well. Or Jenna Fisher's great scenes there.
I do not remember her in that movie.
She's the, like, you know how Will Arnett and Amy Poehler are like the brother-sister skating team? She's the other sister who they blame for, like, killing their parents or whatever.
Really?
And she goes and seduces Will Ferrell at one point. She tries to seduce John Heder, but he's too much of a man-child. He doesn't figure that out.
Yeah, I see this picture now. I think the pond one was... I think the pond one was even better.
Alright, so by the end of branch closing, the branch is closed. Some people... the Stanford branch has closed. Some people are coming back to Scranton. Let's just do a quick rundown of who that is. We got Jim Halpert, sales. Martin Nash, accounting. Pepperoni Tony Gardner, which I don't know what department he's in. Andy Bernard, sales. Karen Filippelli, sales. And Hannah Smoteridge Barr, who sits next to Creed. So, she does something.
She does quality control?
And that's what Creed does. Yeah. But that's also next to Meredith, and Meredith does, like, customer relations or whatever. Or supplier relations. So she's in between those two things.
She's a customer relation.
Maybe. So, yeah, those are the 6 people who are coming back to Scranton. So then we come to the merger. Episode 7 of Season 3. Episode 8 of Season 3, rather. Sorry. Merger. So then we get the opening scene of the Stanford branch finally closing. Andy has a knack for arts and crafts, so he makes the little Rip Stanford hats. Good for him.
Classy. He
tries to start kissing Michael's ass even before he leaves Stanford.
Does he, Calvin? Really, Calvin? I didn't know that, Calvin.
Why? Oh, yeah. Yeah, name recognition. Never breaking off a handshake. He asks Jim how to get in with Michael. Jim's not giving him anything. And then Pam pulls a great prank on Dwight as well, making him run laps around the building to beat Toby's mile time.
I'm not even
with a thermometer. It's a thermometer.
Her game slowly gets better as the seasons go on.
Well, I think she was at her best when Jim was gone, too. Like, she knew that there was a Jim-sized hole in the office, and she needed to fill that gap.
I think she's good at it, too.
Yeah, she is good at it. Except the one on the elevator where she screws with the elevator buttons and she gets stuck, and Dwight has to establish a P corner immediately. That was
she's pretty, she's pretty happy, I would say, through the whole ordeal. She's not crying, at least.
Well, until Dwight tries to pee in a corner. Other than that, she's happy. I'll give you that.
And he just keeps on drinking. Bastard.
So the Stanford employees arrive in Scranton. Dwight, implores Michael to fire somebody, consolidate power. That's how they did it in World War II Japan. They would kill somebody as soon as they got to the concentration camp to show them they weren't fucking around. Obviously, Dwight wants to do that in the office as well.
He has the weaponry for it.
Well, yeah, that's true. A lot of weapons around the office. They're all given gift bags. What is in the gift bags? What do you think? I know we obviously have pencils and coupons. Do you think there's anything else in there?
Paper.
Paper.
I bet you there's like a single folded piece of white paper.
A blank slate for you to start your new career in Scranton.
Yes. Make me a best boss ever card.
There you go. with the pencils you were given.
Yes.
And then you can go to Poor Richard's with this coupon and maybe the Anthracite Museum.
And buy me a drink.
Yeah, I don't know that Michael has the forethought to put anything other than that stuff in there, to be honest.
I don't know. He does some work in the dinner party episode.
That's true. He brings his potato salad. Oh no, that's at the cocktail party at David Wallace's house.
Yeah, that's when he gets Jim and Pam to come over.
Yeah,
corners him into it.
That's true. He does put a lot of work into that. Check out episode 40-something, 50-something, where we talked about the dinner party. I don't know what
Check
episode
it
out. Somebody could look it up. It's in the archives. Just go back a few weeks. We get a truly iconic Andy line here of, "I'm always one step ahead, like a carpenter who makes stairs." I don't know why I love that joke. It's awesome.
He says some odd shit.
He does, but that's all. I'm always thinking one step ahead, like a carpenter who makes stairs. He's got to think where the next stair is going. I get it. It makes sense.
It makes sense. But it's just so out there. It's like I've never. When he talks about giving his list to his maid or whatever to go out every Tuesday and Friday and get what I need. So maybe she'll get me this job. Just little shit like that. Like that's Andy's character perfectly. That's a good introduction to him.
Then Jim finally arrives. Pam ruins his joke. He has a great joke set up where he doesn't know what he's doing, blah, 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 and she just hugs him like, "Come on, Pam. Let him finish his joke."
No, it's okay. No.
And Ryan pulls the power play for Jim's death.
Seriously, it's like he just slapped his wiener down on the table and was like, "What's up, buddy?"
Jim's a nice guy.
Do you got the balls
so I got
to...
the desk.
Yeah, no shit. And that's why I got the desk.
Which this is really the first... I mean, we've had some inkling before, but this is really the first kind of douche Ryan coming out.
Just skeevy little Ryan,
yeah,
that's for sure. And then he hits you again later in the episode before that. So I guess this is a reinforcement of his skeeviness.
Yeah, definitely. So we get a welcome breakfast with a great orientation video of Lacey Scranton. The little cars go in the compact spot. No one's impressed by that video. Like, that was really good.
Michael's got talent. He's got the eye.
Great Scott Productions. Like, come on. You guys don't care?
Great Scott Productions.
Jim was actively making fun of him for it. Like, I would think that's really cool if that was my orientation video. Now, if I had to watch it 600 times, I wouldn't, but...
I don't know, bro. My current
I'd rather that than the ones that we have at my current job is like 4 hours of boring-ass videos. Like, I would much rather have Lacey Scranton.
Yeah. In mine, we have to do training for active shooters, and it's literally... from the 90s, all right?
Well, yeah, I don't know that you want to spice that up too much. You need to get information through there.
Well, he's literally running around with a shotgun, and when he shoots it at people, a cartoon, like, blast of fire and gunpowder comes out of the end of it, and then they're on the floor with, like, ketchup. Is what literally what this shit looks like. I kid you not. And every time I have to watch it every year. And it's just like, you couldn't afford something better than this? And if they hit me with something that Michael Scott did like that, I'm so game.
Yeah, we have a driver safety video that's from like 1984. It still holds up, apparently. It's very bad and very boring.
Well, those new ones cost too much. So
that's true. Or to just like walk outside and make your own. It'd be rough.
iMovie, bitches.
So... all of these mostly normal people, like you could argue that Andy's not normal, but the rest of them, all these normal people are dropped into the Scranton branch of Dunder Mifflin, and they just can't handle it.
No, it's a zany world out there, man.
Yeah, they had no shot. Andy's trying to hit on Angela, which is going nowhere. Pam tries to ask out Jim, and Jim turns her down, because he started seeing Karen at this point. Creed is creeping on Hannah as she's pumping.
Yeah, it's so weird, man.
Creed in all his creedness. And then, Karen can't handle Phyllis's perfume that Bob Vance bought in Metropolitan Orlando, which, fun fact, I'm in Metropolitan Orlando right now as we speak. I haven't seen Bob Vance around, though.
You haven't seen who around?
Bob Vance. Swear he bought the perfume.
Vance Refrigeration?
Vance Refrigeration, yeah. Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if someone tried to monetize that at some point. It's like, Phyllis perfume!
I don't know that it would go very far, because apparently it does not smell good, according to Karen and Stanley, who said he's been sitting downwind of Phyllis's perfume for years, and he doesn't complain.
Now, is it... Later on, they established that Phyllis has a body odor of some sort. Is that just
no, she was. That was when.
Didn't she have like an illness or something?
Yeah, when Michael became a salesman and Jim became manager, she had sent out an email to everyone that she was on some new medication that caused some gas that was not good.
Bob Vance Refrigeration saw that ahead of time. Hit her with the perfume.
Gave her extra smelly perfume, obviously. But that's when we get the iconic Phyllis line of "You've got a lot to learn about this town, sweetie," to Karen. Yeah, when she doesn't know who Bob Vance is.
Straight up stone cold stunnered her.
Got a lot to learn about this town. So then next we get the integration celebration, where Michael tries to turn it into a night at the Roxbury, which is a very stale reference at this point. It's probably 8 years old.
At least, man. I thought Night at the Roxbury was a little older than that.
Like 98, I think.
God, man, I feel so old right now.
Maybe not. I gotta look it up now. You got me thinking.
Might be. But yeah, very stale reference. I highly doubt half of them have seen that. Damn, you were good. Spot on, buddy.
Andy joins in. I don't know that nobody's seen it. I bet they don't care, though.
No.
This is not Lazy Scranton. Like, Lazy Scranton is really good. Michael trying to ad-lib a scene from Night at the Roxbury with Dwight and Andy. Not good.
Not good. Cringeworthy.
Everybody tries to get up on the table. Pepperoni Tony can't get up there and is fired.
So dumb.
And this is, I think, the first time that we see Michael realizing throughout the series at this point that Michael realizes maybe he's the problem. He doesn't let that affect him, but he realizes he's the problem and then fires Tony.
Yeah. Dumb bastard.
Now they owe severance. It's not a good move by Tony.
Yeah, and apparently you still get like benefits and shit.
Yeah, I think it was like they had to keep his benefits going for the next 3 months or whatever.
That's expensive for Pepperoni Tony.
Yeah, Pepperoni Tony's got some...
He's feeling a little peckish.
Yeah.
He's got to get something to eat.
Sorry about that. I was doing something and I lost my place in my notes.
Oh, you're good.
But yeah, Pepperoni Tony is fired as Dwight first planned. Good for you, Dwight, I guess. So then Michael goes down and lets the air out of everyone's tires to try and, get everyone to commiserate and, band together against Bob Vance Refrigeration and his goons. And they end up just all going back upstairs. Bob Vance Refrigeration says he'll refill the tires. And they all kind of commiserate over Michael just being terrible.
Yeah, they realized pretty quickly that he had let all the air out of their tires. Well, why are his tires flat?
His car wasn't let out, yeah. Way to go, Michael. Man. Michael's not great at pranks.
No.
So we get confirmation at the end of this episode that Jim and Karen are dating. And let's take this time, just a couple minutes, to really explore their relationship. Because I don't think we'll ever do a full episode on Jim and Karen's relationship, and I don't think it deserves one. Are you a fan of Jim and Karen?
No, it feels kind of forced.
Yeah, it feels like he started dating her as a buffer to Pam.
That's kind of what or at least just like a last-ditch effort to get over Pam. Or just, self-medicating with a different type of pretty lady.
Right, he kind of figured like he was going back there, he wouldn't be able to just be around Pam. He needed something to fall back on, and that was Karen. And through the rest of this season, their relationship, you can feel that kind of strain on their relationship. And I don't know, Karen, there's nothing exciting about Karen. Now, Ann Perkins, she's great. But Karen Filippelli, not so much.
No, she's very bland in the office. She just
Jim tries to get her to set up like the fun Italian sounding voicemail message, and she does it for a second and then changes it straight back. Like, yeah, she's not there for pranks and just fun loving day at the office. She wants to go in and get her work done.
Yeah, she's buttoned down. That was kind of what sums up Stanford as a whole, is they all were buttoned down, got their work done, they were productive.
They were productive, yeah. Not something that goes on. These people are not made for Scranton life.
No, which is unproductivity, but still being the best.
Well, they have to get a lot of work done after Michael stops distracting them.
Yeah, so I guess they're even better than this. The Stanford people just don't understand.
Yeah, it takes them 8 hours. It takes them. They can get all the work done in 8 hours that it takes, the Scranton branch to get done in 4 after Michael's done bothering everyone.
Yeah, no kidding.
So okay, no go on Jim and Karen relationship. Glad it only lasted most of the season, and then we get the first kind of Andy versus Dwight moment where they're having this talk about the Trans Am versus the X Earth, and we just get that. I can't think of the word. What's the word I'm looking for, Nick?
X Earth?
His ex Terra.
Is that what that means?
Terra means Earth, yes, in Latin, and Dwight makes fun of him. Oh, you drive an X Earth?
I've never thought
Rather
that
drive
deeply into it.
Classic Trans Am than an X Earth. Well, Dwight brings it up, not me.
Yeah, wow. Well, I've never even noticed it. It's just gone right over my head. I feel like I missed out on so much. I even took Latin class.
You need to go back now and watch it again.
Oh man, sorry, I needed that. That was a good laugh. But that was that was the establishment of the pissing contest that is like them
the
for 4 seasons.
Between them. Yep. And it never really goes away. It goes away sometimes a little bit, but for the most part, they always have this contention between them.
Yeah, when it helps each other out, they'll let bygones be bygones. Yeah,
Reshun.
Shun, unshun.
So we move into the Convict. The last of the merging of the branches, kind of. Hannah brings in her baby for this episode for whatever reason. Whatever, they don't explain. Cool. I guess I get it. She just transferred from a different city. Maybe she hasn't lined up her daycare yet. Maybe her husband hasn't moved yet. Who knows what's going on? So she needs a day with the baby, and nothing gets done in the Scranton branch anyways. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, might as well get paid.
Michael asks seemingly to hold the baby and then does something even weirder than anyone ever thought Michael could do, and crawls under the table and starts talking to the baby. Yeah. Very strange Michael moment. Out of, a million strange Michael moments, that's
top 5.
One of the strangest. Yeah.
That's top 5. Top 5 pervy ones, man. I love little kids.
Well, but I mean, when Jan has her baby, Astrid, he talks about when he first held her, and he's like, "Oh, I love holding babies. I do it all the time." And he it shows these scenes of him just on the street holding random babies, and then he does this weird thing, which I get it's before and they retconned it, whatever. But this is just a really super weird thing to do.
Yeah, no shit. If my boss was on the floor talking to my baby, I'd
probably just go home for the day.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'd go home for the day. And don't call me.
Yeah. So accounting discovers that they're receiving some sort of rebate for employing an ex-convict. Michael gets a good burn on Toby. He never misses a chance to burn Toby. When he's on the phone with Jan, he says, "It must be Toby, convicted rapist." Great Jan sigh over the phone.
Rapist.
Jan and David Wallace have that through the phone sigh at Michael just down pat. Just the.
It's like they literally hold the phone right up to their mouth. So
Goes, oh. It's so great. Anytime he says something incredibly stupid to either one of them, they're just like.
The quick hang up right after.
Yeah.
I'll be there in 10 minutes.
Yeah. So that brings up the question: would you care if you worked with a reformed convict?
No, I've worked with a ton of them before.
Yeah, I'm sure in security that's probably gravitate towards that. Would it matter to you if it was for violent crimes, things like that?
It depends.
Depends how reformed they are.
What's that?
I said it depends how reformed they are.
It depends on if they're trying to flex on me. It's then I'm not really cool with it. But if dude's just trying to get through his life, go for it. All on you. But if he's out here I don't know, it gets tough.
Yeah, white collar financial crimes
Oh, I wouldn't give a shit. I'd be like, seriously,
who
dude?
cares? Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Can you teach me and teach me to do it better so you don't get caught? Like that kind of thing.
They sent you to prison? Like, seriously? Instead of just the tons of other bad guys out there, they sent you.
And obviously it sounds like what Kevin does every day, spawning millions of theories that Kevin is smarter than he looks.
The way he works them cards, I think he might be.
He might just be. Except he loses immediately on casino night. He got a poker bracelet, but he also lost in the warehouse casino night. So Kevin's an enigma, man.
He is.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with Kevin. But yeah, I don't think I would mind it. Violent criminal, maybe. But if it, like you said, if they're completely reformed and you can tell they're just trying to put their life back together, like, yeah, I don't see a problem with it.
I'll say this. There's like a natural. It works its way out naturally. So say we had a guy on one of our. I used to work in Olive Garden when I was a teenager as a server.
Shout out Olive Garden.
Fuck no. Reverse shun.
Yeah,
they are
definitely.
shunned. But anyway, we had a guy that got hired as a busser who was convicted of basically beating the dog shit out of his girl. And his girl worked there too, and they would fight constantly. And I can't tell you how many times this dude was cornered and about to get his ass whooped, and because it's at work, it doesn't actually go down. But before long, he was long gone and out of there. And I think that's kind of the natural thing to happen. It just depends on what they do.
Right. Yeah, if you're not actually trying to get your life back together, like, you're gonna relapse real quick, and
oh yeah,
people are gonna figure you out. But like with Martin Nash, I don't think like anything would have ever happened had Michael not been Michael.
Oh yeah, he's a guy I'd have a lot of questions for. Honestly, the way they ask him like what's prison like, and how Michael tries to like compare, one up him constantly.
Oh, we'll get to prison, Mike.
But yeah,
we'll get there.
Sorry, I don't want to jump too far ahead.
Yeah, don't jump to prison, Mike, before we're ready. So we got the question, who is the convict? It's Martin Nash. Michael's upset that it's the black guy. Why couldn't it be a white guy who got arrested for loving his job too much, or whatever the hell he says. But yeah, so he goes and he wants to kind of keep it under wraps. Nobody wants to talk. Whoever's in the room, Angela, Toby, they don't want to talk about it. And then immediately Michael tells everyone.
Yeah, no shit. He has a problem with that, especially when it came to the branch closing.
Yeah. These like 3 episodes, he's really bad at keeping his poker face and just going along with things. Kind of a side story in this one, Jim is pranking Andy, trying to teach him how to get a date with Pam, and just giving him terrible advice. Tells him that she likes Frisbee-based sports, and she likes the banjo and people who sing in a high falsetto, which are all things Pam hates.
And all things Andy is pretty good at.
Exactly. And I think Jim probably knew that stuff about Andy as well, because Andy's not one to like not talk about how great he is at things.
Or his personal life in a business setting.
Yeah, so I think Jim like really played into Andy's hubris there.
I would. Jim's good at that.
So then we get to the point where everybody's kind of asking Martin about prison and getting to the fact that, and they're just kind of getting under Michael's skin. They don't really think this, but is prison better than working at a middling paper supply company?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because they feed us gruel. 3
Gruel
times
sandwiches.
a day.
We're not to prison Mike yet. Hold off.
But the gruel, man.
Well, the gruel. And the Dementors.
And the
I obviously it's not. Like, prison is not better than pretty much any other way of life. Maybe better than homelessness because you get fed and a place to sleep. But there's also a lot of bad things that go on in prison that everyday life does not prepare you for.
Yeah.
The only thing I would like is like just having that ease of not having to worry about what I'm going to do the next day. It's just like, okay, tomorrow we got rec time, 10 to 11. TV time's at 11:30. Lunch, all right, I'll take care of. Like, if I didn't have to think about what is going to be in my day, it would just be fantastic.
What book am I going to read today?
Right, exactly. Oh, I got library
full
time.
10 hours
I find
of sleep.
some books. Yeah.
We say that as 2 guys that work, full time and have kids. So
just the ease of not having any real responsibility would be fantastic.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Other than the part about being locked up and not having any freedom, yeah, that wouldn't be good.
And the gruel.
The Gruel and the Dementor. So let's talk about Prison Mike. You've been hinting at it. Let's talk about it. This is definitely one of Michael's best characters, and we're going to do a whole episode on all of Michael's characters at some point.
Yes.
But Prison Mike, by far, top 3, I would say.
Yeah, this is one that is so off the cuff and it's his harebrained way of thinking about things. So he, all this is going on. He has all this stimuli, and he lands on Prison Mike. But
does no research on prison.
No, he has no idea what prison's really like.
And what did Prison Mike do to get arrested again?
I don't even remember.
He stole and robbed, kidnapped the president's son. He never got caught, neither.
Never got caught, neither. That is definitely one of his best characters. It's way better than Ping. And who else?
Ping's rough.
Yeah, Ping's pretty bad.
Michael Clump's out there.
Yes. Michael
Scarn. Date Mike. There's a lot out there. We'll do a full episode someday.
Shitload out there.
Mykonos. the Greek businessman. Worst part about prison, obviously, is the Dementors and the Gruel sandwiches.
It's gruel 3 times a day. It's gruel.
The Dementors! They suck the soul right out of your face!
So, I want to know, in Michael's mind, what is gruel?
What is gruel in anyone's mind?
I always wonder when I hear that word.
That's always been like a joke my dad's gone to of like, oh, what are we having for dinner tonight? We're having gruel. Like when we were kids, that's what he would always say. And like to gross us out, and he does it to my kids now too. It's like, I still have no idea what it is.
I always just imagine like dog food covered in gravy.
I kind of think of it as like this oatmeal, but with like almost like an oatmeal smoothie, just like a bunch of shit mixed into this oatmeal-ish, soupish, thick thing.
And then you put it in a sandwich.
And then you make a sandwich out of it, obviously.
3 times a day.
So Toby, Michael locks everybody in the conference room because they're being assholes to him. And Toby has to be the one to bring Michael down and just be like, look, they're obviously fucking with you, you moron.
Yeah, no shit.
Which,
that had to have hurt.
I get it. Yeah. It's got to hurt when Toby's the voice of reason in Michael's mind.
Yeah, no kidding.
But Martin Nash is extremely uncomfortable. He leaves by the end of the episode. So we've got 3 Stanforders left, Andy, Karen, and Hannah Smoteridge Barr. But that's kind of the end of that. Hannah is kind of killed off screen before Benihana Christmas. They do I think they do a cold open with her, like, oh, she left. And because Andy's talking about how he and Karen are the only ones. It's like the Oompa Loompa song starts playing whenever somebody loses, like he does that thing at the beginning of Benihana Christmas. So that's the merger.
That's the merger.
So let's talk about some little extra things. We hinted at this a little bit earlier, but what do you think they did with Jim's old clients? Did he get them back or not? How do you think they handled it?
That's tough. I think for the sake of the show, they had to have given them back. Because I felt like they made such a big stink about it later on in the series.
When Michael Scott Paper Company came back.
Yeah, exactly. And
I'm with you there, and I think he got them back, but I think they also, maybe they didn't make such a big stink because because there were obviously more salespeople in Stanford, so those clients that came over had to get distributed to the salespeople, and Tony Gardner left. He might have been a salesman. So there might have been some extra clients up in the air to kind of make amends for giving Jim his back in this situation.
That makes quite a bit of sense, because they had to have been swamped, especially dealing with a branch merger like that. And all the flip-flopping.
Yeah, flip-flopping, flapping. Are there any employees that didn't last from Stanford that you wish would have stuck around longer?
Tony Pepperoni.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought Tony Pepperoni was kind of boring. He was one-dimensional. He's just the fat guy. We already have Kevin.
We had no idea, though. He seems like a smart fat guy. So that's a whole new dynamic, my friend.
Well, yeah, he was definitely smart enough to see through Michael's shit on day one. So
imagine all the hijinks that him and Kevin could have gotten into.
Yeah, that's true. Kevin would have finally had somebody to challenge him in the M&M eating contest in the Office Olympics.
Yeah, how many M&Ms can you fit in your mouth?
My pick was Martin Nash. He seemed kind of fun. Like he was very open about his time in prison. He wanted to talk to people. He just seemed like a normal guy that could also kind of live it up a little bit in this office scenario. Hannah, I think if she stuck around, we would have just had a slew of breast pumping and baby jokes, and it would have gotten old really fast.
Yeah, I agree.
And it already started to get old in the just 3 episodes that she was there.
Well, I mean, we get it. Creed's creepy, and
Yeah.
it makes Angela uncomfortable. But I agree with Martin, actually. That's a really good one.
I would prefer Martin over Tony, but I would say ranking them Martin, Tony, Hannah.
Martin's character felt a lot more natural.
Well, I think he was also built out a little bit more because we got 3 episodes with him instead of 1. But
True.
You know, Pepperoni Tony, like you said, he's got some potential though. You talked me into him a little bit. Let's say you work at the Stanford branch of Dunder Mifflin Paper Company, and you were told you had to transfer to Scranton. First of all, would you choose to transfer, and how would you take it if you did? It's a very long pause.
I'm thinking.
It's a tough answer.
I mean,
let's just say you know nothing about the brand. Like, you haven't watched 2 seasons of The Office to know what goes on there. Like, you just know that it's this crazy place that Jim came from, and that you hear the boss is crazy. Stories. Yeah.
Well, hey, if I get to keep my clients, you best believe I'm going. In this job market. Come on. Yeah,
especially in 06, 07-ish when this is going on.
Yeah, it's tough, but people need their paper.
I would probably take the severance. There's no way I would last in Scranton. Like, I'm very much I just want to go to work, get my work done, and go home. I want to be under the radar.
Most definitely. Same
There's
here.
Too much going on in Scranton. Like, if Michael's up in my face all the time about what I'm doing, I would not make it.
See, I would probably end up punching him. I'm a really non-violent cat, but when people when they get in my personal space, especially if I'm at work, and it's like, I'm literally here to do my job and go the fuck home. I don't want to deal with any of your crap.
Yep.
And they keep going. That's when I'm ready to be like, all right. Yeah,
part of my job is to deal with other people's crap. Well, specifically their crap that happens on their computer if something's not going right on their computer. So, like, I will get these moods where it's just like everybody is asking for everything in one day, and I just want to explode, and then somebody comes in and asks me the dumbest question. I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing? Leave me the hell alone. I feel like if I worked at Scranton as Nick the IT guy, I would have to make a lot of phone calls because that's my way of like decompressing after this stuff is like I breathe deep, I answer the person's dumb question, I go fix it for them, whatever it is, and then I go outside and like immediately call my wife and just have to rant and go and talk to my wife for like 5 minutes straight. She doesn't interrupt me, and she's like, okay, and then we hang up. But like I would feel like I would be making a lot of phone calls to my wife if I worked in Scranton.
See, I would just have her on my Bluetooth.
Oh, so
she could hear
Bluetooth.
God, if I tell my wife half the dumb shit my boss says to me.
Well, sometimes she like tries to take the other people's side too. She's like, "Well, aren't you kind of supposed to do that?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, but
I'm upset right now. You listen."
I don't need to like connect your printer. You should be able to figure that out on your own, or like reset your password. Like, that's not me. That's somebody else that does that. Like, when you add it, it's very difficult sometimes.
Yeah, Google. I am not Google. I'm Calvin.
A lot of times I Google things for them. Whatever, they keep.
Are they 100?
So it works.
Are they?
No, like that's what the weird. Like, some people are older and like it's in the construction business, so like I get it. These aren't people who are using computers every day in their day-to-day lives. They don't get it. They're slow adapters, things like that. But there are other things that's like, okay, I've been here for 6 years and I've shown you how to do this 15 times in those 6 years. You should get this by now.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah. And then the young people aren't any better in this job for some reason. There are some that are okay, but for the most part, it's very difficult. So final question. In the long run, was Dunder Mifflin better off leaving Scranton open versus Stanford?
Yeah, honestly. I mean, if Dunder Mifflin's the one that ends up making all the money.
Yeah, I
Then
mean,
yeah.
Scranton eventually becomes their most profitable branch, and I don't think there's anything that we saw of Stanford that would lead us to believe that would happen in like that if Stanford stayed open, this is the way it would go.
Yeah, I mean, I
They would
think
not follow the same trajectory as Scranton.
they knew what they were getting from Stanford, and I think
Mhm.
that's kind of why they kept Josh.
Well, yeah, Josh was good and he was smart, but he was very inside the box thinking of like, this is how we do it. We make our calls. We have our team building Call of Duty. That's our fun. Everybody get on the phone and call your clients.
Yeah, he had XYZ, whereas Michael has C, Q and L.
Throw 3 in there, maybe.
Yeah, a couple $signs, whatever.
Roman numerals, yeah, who knows? Yeah, that's why I said Michael, for all his flaws, he did some amazing things for the company to keep them chugging along and keep his branch successful. To the point where David Wallace is in season 5 is having him, come to New York to try and pick his brain, which he quickly finds out that there's not much in Michael's brain. But at the same time, like, he was doing something right. I think Josh would have had the same problems that most businesses had between 2008 and 2010. But because you have someone like Michael who doesn't do things conventionally, you get a lot farther with that in those times.
Most definitely, and he's more of a leader. Like I know Andy specifically says to Josh, our fearless leader, but I feel like
Well, he's just kissing his ass.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like the people at Scranton genuinely love Michael Scott.
They genuinely hate him at times too, though.
Oh yeah, well, don't you hate at times everybody you love? Isn't that why we fight with family and stuff like that? We always get on each other's nerves, but it's when you forgive people and you still love them.
No shit.
When you know you really
Getting
love them.
deep here on a podcast about something today.
Hey, let me know.
That's true, though. Everything you said is true, and that's why it's impactful. Because, like you said, Michael, he's not the smartest person, but he has your back. Say what you will about Michael Scott, but he would never do something like that.
Yep, exactly. I do. When Jim said that, that spoke volumes.
And it's true, but it's also bullshit because, like, Josh Porter did the right thing for himself. So, fuck you, Jim.
Yeah. Yep. They don't care.
No. You got anything else on the merger?
I have nothing else on the merger except
I think we covered this beast.
Yeah, I think we've covered this beast, and like I'm still standing firm on my top 5 greatest series, involved with The Office.
Yeah, love like the story arcs.
Yes,
yeah,
I really liked it. It was 3 full episodes, and change.
Yeah, and I mean, and they're dealing with the fallout for the rest of season 3 pretty much, and even into season 4 a little bit when Karen is in Albany or wherever she goes to, Rochester maybe, I don't know.
I think it's
somewhere.
Rochester.
Yeah, it could have been. So it's still going there. She's got bad feelings for Jim, and there's all this other stuff going on that's fallout from the merger. So it was a really cool thing that The Office did to just bring in this entirely different group of people and like have this kind of contention between them that never really like the characters weren't ever contentious between each other, but there was this which branch is going to stay open in the world of the show. I think as watchers we knew it was going to be Scranton because Scranton's where everything happens.
Oh, most
but
definitely.
like it was definitely a cool storytelling thing that The Office did.
Oh yeah, and I think they saw that they wanted to get Jim and Pam together. Like I think that was always in the plans, and this was in my mind the best possible route they could have taken to get there. Like it was convoluted. It was
they had
a big mess, but it made sense with.
They had to spread it out more. It would have been weird if Jim left and then came back.
It was just like
6 episodes later, and then they were just together. Like giving Jim something else to do in that time, someone else to do in that time, I think really helped their relationship build because you got to see kind of through Pam what Jim had been feeling for the first 2 seasons. Now Pam's feeling that,
and vice versa again. The whole Roy deal.
Fucking Roy.
I mean, never mind. I'm not even gonna go on that tangent. Fucking Roy just out here screaming like a dick at the bar, throwing shit.
Throwing shit at the weird mirror behind the bar, and his brother randomly throwing things too.
That's weird. That's what bros do, bro.
I guess they throw things with you.
Yeah, they bro down.
I'm gonna kill Jim Halpert.
They should have had him trying.
I mean, he did. Dwight stopped him like a superhero with pepper spray.
Yeah, fucking Dwight. Chino chop.
All right, that's all we've got today. You've always left me satisfied and wanting more.
That's what she said.
So, thank you for listening. Check us out on Twitter at APA something, at alone_podcast. You can check out our website, podcastaboutsomething.com. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/podcastaboutsomething. There's also a donate button on our website on the About Us page that you can just go click if you don't like the monthly thing of Patreon, but you still want to support us, which we love. Then do it through the donate button. We would love that, and that's awesome. Any support we get really helps. We also have a cool idea coming up for our movie superlatives. At the end of this month, we are doing Will Ferrell movie superlatives, and we want some input from listeners/other podcasters.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to solicit, once we figure out what our awards that we'll be giving out to the Will Ferrell movies, we will solicit some input from other podcasters or just our listeners, whoever wants to join in. We'll ask you to record, 1 to 2 minutes on why you pick a movie to win a certain award, and send that back to us. So if you're interested in that, DM us on Twitter or send us an email to a podcastaboutsomething@gmail.com and let us know what you think. All the music for Podcast About Something is provided by those cats.
You guys stay sassy.
Stay classy.